Welcome back to the Bearded Console Gamer and to the weekly update, where I sift through the smouldering remains of the last 7 days to find you the choicest information nuggets that you need to keep you in the know. Today we'll be covering Google's decision to shut down internal game development on Stadia. I'll also be giving some information on the Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 release dates. We'll also be talking Mass Effect Limited Edition, as well as Apex Legends, and just a whole lot more. So with that, let's jump into the news. And that news is that just a few days ago during Activision Blizzard's quarterly financial call, it was revealed that neither Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2 would be launching until 2022 at the earliest. That's sure to be monumentally disappointing for some fans, but at least they're likely to get some kind of details on both titles during Activision Blizzard's online convention BlizzCon, which is due to stream February 19th through to February 20th, so keep an eye on that if you're a fan of either. Next up in the news, Google Stadia? More like Google Gondia. By which I mean to say that Google, serial adopter and abandoner of ambitious projects, has announced that it's winding down its internal game development studios, and that they will be developing no new first-party titles for the platform. In the blog post announcing the move, Vice President and GM of Stadia, Phil Harrison, stated that we will not be investing further in bringing exclusive content from our internal development team SG&E beyond any near-term planned games. Harrison cited the rising cost and time-intensive nature of game development as some of the driving factors in closing the studios, and said that Google's efforts with Stadia would instead be focused on helping third-party developers and publishers take advantage of their platform. The sad reality of Stadia is that it was never able to recover from its disastrous launch, and that, beyond that, the internet infrastructure needed to support the virtual console simply doesn't exist in most places at this time. And whilst this isn't the end for Stadia, it's undeniably a negative development. I mean, if Google doesn't have enough confidence in their platform to put games on it, then why the hell should anyone else? And whilst obviously jokes are going to be made about Google killing another one of its children, spare a thought for the talented employees of the two studios whose lives are going to be shuffled around as a result of this change of direction. This week also gave us a release date for the Mass Effect Legendary Edition bundle, along with a brand new hype trailer and a ton of new info about what's going to be in the games and what improvements have been made to the original trilogy. According to BioWare, each of the games has benefited from up-res and improved textures, character models, shaders, and technical features, and now each of the games is going to run in 4K Ultra HD with HDR support. The collection's also going to feature two performance options, those being Favor Quality, which puts an emphasis on resolution and graphical fidelity, and Favor Frame Rate, which provides a 60 frames per second gameplay experience at the cost of graphical quality. Onto what is actually in the collection, the Legendary Edition is set to include all main campaign content from Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, along with over 40 pieces of DLC. The only missing piece of DLC that I know of is a piece of Mass Effect 1 content that adds a top-secret Alliance training ground to the game. BioWare had actually wanted to include this piece of content, which is known as Pinnacle Station, in the Legendary Edition, but sadly, the source files were found to be corrupted. BioWare even reached out to Demure Studios, who designed Pinnacle Station for them back in the day, to get the original code from them for the project, but unfortunately even their code was found to be corrupted. So short of completely remaking the content, there was just nothing to be done, so Pinnacle Station is going to miss the great Mass Effect content reunion of 2021. And with that, I've made myself sad. Also, you may have heard on those internets that BioWare has decided to make some alterations to the camera angles in some of the cutscenes that focused on Miranda Lawson's, well, behind. If you can believe it, people are actually freaking out about this decision and threatening to not buy the game because of the change. First up, these shots, artistically speaking, always felt out of step with the game. Secondly, they were just jarring and weird. If I recall correctly, the most infamous of the gratuitous camera angles actually occurred when Miranda was talking about how fucked up her life had been up to that point. And then suddenly, the emphasis and tone of the scene is completely shifted by switching the focus to the rump. Weird artistic design decision right there. And if you disagree with me, ask yourself whether a modern day movie would have those camera angles rocking in a similar scene. And then realize that you've been completely bested by my logic. And then maybe also realize that you're getting angry about a lack of butt pixels in a remaster of a video game when there's a deadly virus literally ravaging the world in which you actually live. So maybe grow up a little and stop spending your emotional currency on butts. Anyway, moving on from asses and onto the newly revealed news that between its launch date on November 12th to the end of 2020, Sony was able to ship 4.5 million PlayStation 5 consoles to customers spread around the world. That number is particularly impressive considering the supply shortages that Sony's had to deal with as a result of the COVID pandemic. However, it was also revealed that Sony was actually losing money on each unit of PS5 sold, as the cost of manufacturing the consoles was reported to be significantly greater than their retail value. That said, they also sold a ton of PS4s, which they have a better margin on, and a ton more games. So they would have made that up, and they're looking into the future with this strategy anyway. Finally, we were told via an official blog post that Apex Legends, the free-to-play battle royale from developers Respawn Entertainment, is going to be dropping onto the Nintendo Switch on March 9th later this year. According to the post, the port, which is being worked on with developer Panic Button, will have full parity of the versions of the game running on other consoles and PC, at least in terms of content. That means that it's going to be coming out strong with crossplay at launch, and that it'll support the latest Season 8 content. By the way, players who pick up the game on Switch are also going to get a gift of the first 30 levels of Battle Pass free, plus 2 weeks of double XP starting from launch day. And on that happy note, I'm calling a lid for the week. If you enjoyed the episode, be sure to like and subscribe, and to keep it here for all the most important news from around the video gaming world.